the first time we have a crop duster in the race.
Well, he's gonna die.
Dusty, you're going up against the best racers in the world.
I'm afraid of heights.
That airplane needs some help. Y'all know that, right?
Yeah. It ain't how fast you fly, it's how you fly fast. You can fly a whole lot higher than you think. Ballistic! He's ready.
Hey, look who made it. It's Rusty. Dusty Crop Hopper.
Farm boy.
Unbelievable. Disney got us to get off our asses and go see a movie that should have been on TV.
Seriously, my thumb was twitching the whole time from trying to find the eject button. This is them going, oh, come on. I know this is direct-to-DVD quality, but the kids sure do love that Cars franchise. Let's milk a few more bucks out of the little
Kids
fuckers.
don't love the Cars franchise. They love those little plastic cars that they get to play with.
They love the toys, exactly. And this is another attempt at, guess what? Putting more toys out there so your kids can throw around at each other while you're sitting there pulling your hair out going, what the fuck did I do?
As if it can't get any more obvious that it starts with their new brand,
Yeah.
the World of Cars.
Right.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Oh, so this is a Pixar movie?
Yeah.
No.
Do they have a theme park yet?
I'm sure they will,
Yeah.
but do they? Okay, but they shouldn't have called it Planes. They should have just called it Plane because it's fucking boring.
Yeah, you're right about that, man.
They just did not give a fuck.
Oh.
No, they didn't.
No fucks were given.
like this was the very definition of minimal effort. Like
To the point where, like, you cast as your lead Dane Cook, who every time he gets an animated character voice somewhere, like the Dorian Gray picture of Mickey Mouse gets a little uglier.
okay, when did he do an animated character voice before?
He's done some other stuff before.
It's funny because before going in, you were saying, I was like, man, you always hating on Dane Cook.
Yeah.
He haven't even been around for a while. Why don't you give him a chance? Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Got another
Thank
excuse not to like him.
You know your shit is straight to DVD when you got Sinbad doing a voice.
I know, right?
I know. That's not even straight to DVD. That's straight to television. Even that, straight to access television.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even the Disney Channel is like, you can stand in lines.
No, I appreciated having, the question, whatever happened to Sinbad, answered.
Well, there you go. And the thing is, they ain't even give my man like a main role. He plays a little forklift that has about 3 seconds of dialogue. And the thing that he says was, that's niggity nasty. Yeah. That's niggity nasty.
I know. They got him like the bargain basement bin of ghetto slang.
I mean, they got my man for it just took 3 seconds for him to get coonish.
I know. I was like, couldn't they have dressed him up like a pirate so I at least know it was Sinbad?
I mean, it's funny, like, his show hasn't been on in 20 years, and yet everything this character is saying came straight out of that. Yeah. It's like he's been frozen in ice like Captain America and just came out. And all he knows is 1985.
He pulls out his A-list material from his back pocket. These kids are going to love this.
Motherfucker went from 0 to coonish in 30 seconds.
Nothing about this film feels like they even believed they had anything special. I mean, there are jokes that they pull out that it feels like the film literally stops for a second and everyone kind of looks at each other uncomfortably.
Hold on.
Okay, let's go to the next scene.
Hold on. You found a joke in this movie?
Only on paper, and by paper I mean a joke book meant for 4-year-old kids from 1972.
I'm telling you, man, this to me, this script, it felt like somebody wrote an outline for a script. Just say, look, if you want to make a movie like this, you want to do it something like this. And they just went like, okay, well, if we got something, let's just shoot it. It's like, no, that was the outline.
It's funny you say the outline because I was told that this was pretty much the outline of Cars. I mean, from beginning to end.
No.
Really?
It's actually, I mean, plot-wise, the bare bones of it, it's so stolen from, well, not stolen, but because this story is old, but it's so much like Turbo, except I wish you guys had seen Turbo and how much work they put into it and all the stuff they did to make it cool, make it funny, give it some things. So like, yeah, it's a crazy, story, and they did something with it. And here, they just like, it's Disney, it's Pixar.
Yeah, and you're right. It's not stolen. I mean, this is just. It's a rudimentary plot that can
Ripped
be used
off
for
the
anything.
Cannonball Run.
Well, I wouldn't even say that. It's just what it's not even a real story. It's just taking advantage of. All right, there's a worldwide race. Dane Cook plays a crop duster in a small town who wants to participate in this worldwide race of planes. And of course, all the planes that are there, they're jets and. I mean, they're anything but
they're actually built for speed.
Yeah, exactly. And he's a crop duster, so this is where you get the little engine that could type story. and he does the race. Of course, first of all, you have some roles to fit. You have the romantic interest or female character. You have the ethnic stereotype that has to come in. In this case, it's a Mexican plane.
Oh, it's so many ethnic
El
stereotypes
Chupacabra.
in this whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, and it starts out with Cedric the Entertainer as a fellow crop duster who's talking like old slave or something.
Yeah, he's old Joe.
Yeah, Dustin, you think you can go forget your mind on the game, boys? Get the crop duster.
You know, he's the black equivalent of Larry the Cable Guy in the car.
You're right. Yes, he is. And then
No, that's not true now. Brad Garrett's character is more the Larry the Cable Guy.
I'm sorry, that's right. That's
I
Brad
actually
Garrett's
thought that
character,
when they opened up a Cedric the Entertainer, he was kind of the more soulful version of that too. You know,
He's hardly in the movie.
Yeah,
but
he is.
he's at the beginning, and that's it. Pretty
He's
much.
right. It's Brad Garrett, though. I was thinking of.
But then and of course you have the asshole who always wins and said, "I'm not gonna get beat by no crop dusters.
with
no
his
way."
flunkies.
Yeah,
you got to have flunkies.
I don't get how you get to race, but your flunkies get to race along.
That's not fair.
That's not fair.
It's not fair. I mean, they're just there to like beat up on the guy that's about to win. You know? And by the way, it's really not fair because while you're getting the lead, you're getting your two lackeys back there to like take down the other guy. How does that even? Is there not a fucking manual for this race or something?
No,
Are
not
there
in this
any
world.
rules in this thing? Come on, Rev.
No.
And it's really not a whole lot of voices in here that you'll recognize as doing anything but being, again, generic voices. I mean, we already mentioned a few of them. Stacy Keach is
Actually, I really like Stacy Keach.
I like Stacy Keach, and he plays Chance, who is who I don't know what kind of model of plane.
Well,
he
was like a World War II fighter plane.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's the old veteran who's like telling like, boy, you trying to race, you fucking up. Now,
Gee, wonder why
you know
liked
what?
him.
Just to be nice, I'm gonna go ahead and teach you how to beat these planes, but you gotta listen to me.
Yeah.
It's the old Sarge.
This has been you in every review tonight.
Story of your life,
And
Leon.
if there was anything I liked about this movie, it was Stacy Keach. I was like, you know what? I love him doing his voice acting. This character I could believe in.
Yeah.
He actually has he's like the one character who has an interesting story arc in this whole thing.
And then there's other people that you will recognize. I mean, John Cleese is unmistakable, but then you get into people like Val Kilmer, Julia Louis-Dreyfus,
Yeah.
who actually does a French voice in here, but it could have been done by anybody. Anthony Edwards,
Wait, who was
matter.
Anthony Edwards?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they all start to sound the same, and you don't care because you know what? None of them are given any kind of characteristics that would
I get
distinguish
Val
them.
Kilmer and Anthony Edwards. They're the Top Gun reference.
Is that
They're both in Top Gun.
Yeah, that's
and it's
true.
all about planes.
is Anthony
That's
Edwards
true.
in Top Gun?
Yeah.
Oh, it's been a long
Yeah,
time.
he's the guy
He's
who
Goose.
dies.
He's the one who dies.
Yeah, I'm trying my best not to taint that movie.
Oh,
right now, Leon.
okay. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Get it? The only joke that you might have laughed at in this movie, and we don't give a shit.
But you know who's going to get it?
I'm sorry. Yeah, is that supposed to mean
Yeah,
something to me?
you know who's going to get it? The little kids. They're going to get
Oh,
it.
yeah, right.
Well, that is the thing. It's like so much of this, I go like, who is this aimed at? Because clearly you're writing on a 4 or 5 year old level, but with references to things that these kids won't get this.
And by the way, I tell you what, I didn't want to say anything before, but I'm going to admit it. I was mixed up because I was thinking of Anthony Anderson instead of Anthony Edwards.
A little different. A little bit
Yeah, a
different.
little way different. I was like, I wasn't even old enough to be in Top Gun. But yeah, man. Look, Disney said that this was a straight to DVD film or Blu-ray or
Yeah, for a
home
long
market
time I
movie.
thought it was.
And it was. And the reason why they released it theatrically is because they did have some success with movies that were released theatrically in the past. Toy Story 2 being one of them. But with Toy Story 2, somebody looked at it and said, wow, this is magical enough for the big screen. Somebody looked at this and say, yeah, we can get that money with this.
We can sell a lot of toys, kids.
Sell a lot of toys with this. Yeah, and
A lot
it's
of
not
Happy
even like
Meals.
I hate the movie. I mean, if this is the kind of movie, first of all, you can look at the quality in some of the scenes, and you got to really be looking for it. Kids are not going to care, but I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, you can look at this and tell certain parts were really meant for the home market. But the reason why Disney released it is because they had some scenes that I thought, okay, granted, they look cool, but still not enough for a wide release. I mean, they have some scenes in there that seem like they threw some money at it. There's scenes where they're flying over the ocean. You know, they have tons of flying scenes in canyons and whatnot. But the writing on this is meant for, and I use writing loosely because this is what you're going to use. I hate to say what I'm sure every critic is going to say out there. I don't know what else to say. It's a babysitting film.
Yeah,
You
pretty
know,
much.
you
It
nailed
is.
it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, yeah, I guess I stopped short of hating it. I mean, I was kind of like, I just want this to be over. Somewhere near the third act, and I know it's all because of Stacy Keach's his character's arc, where it got into like what went on with that. And I was like, wow, some actual work went into this scene right here.
There was some real backstory.
Yes, there's some backstory.
It is tragic.
It was dark. It was tragic. Even the animation on the way it plays out, I was like, okay, this is actually well done.
It felt like another movie.
Yeah,
that
it
should have
belongs
been
in a different
made,
movie.
you know?
It's like, all right, you guys are actually putting sort of something in here. There's even a musical number where I was like, wow, that was sucking at first, but you sort of turning it around. Not enough to save the film, but enough for me to not leave angry.
It felt like Steven Spielberg came in for a second, and he's like, you know what, let me write something cool here. Something that'll interest me.
Guest director Steven Spielberg.
I think in a better film, though, you would have never paid special attention to that sequence. It's just that everything here is so boring. Even the animation, the storyboarding of it is just relatively uncreative. There's nothing that stands out at all in it. And when it finally finds a tiny bit of a heart there, it does something interesting with one of the characters that you're really not expecting anything interesting to happen with, you perk up a little bit. You're like, oh, did something actually happen that was pertinent?
I did notice my booty hole perk up just a tad bit. I was like, please let me go to the bathroom right now. Because
did you just say booty hole?
Yeah.
This movie turned you into a kid.
I felt, and if I was a kid, I would have been screaming the top of my lungs off because this movie, the first hour was so boring. I was really trying hard not to fall asleep at the first half of this film. I was
I fell asleep, man. I was hating the first half of this movie. But I'm not gonna lie though, it was somewhere during the second half of the film where it actually won me over. Now I'm not saying that this is something that is a great movie. I'm not even trying to recommend this. I'm just saying while I was there and watching it, I started to root for Dusty. And the reason why I think I enjoyed it is because they just got rid of all the bullshit, all of the plane and car puns. I mean, you know, they have Brent Musburger here as Brent Mustangburger, and I mean, that's the
level.
Exactly. That's an example
Leon's
of the level
actually
of
turning to me angry at some of these puns, as if because I like the occasional pun, this is my fault. This is not my fault.
It is.
Puns were around
because
before
you
hit
allowed
the scene.
this to happen.
No, it was not
this is the
me.
fruit of your labor.
You can't put that on me.
You know what? And it's funny because I looked down because you guys were like a couple of rows ahead of me, and I looked down and I actually saw Leon's head turn.
Yeah.
I thought he had his cell phone on, but it was the glistening of his teeth gritting at you.
I wouldn't even look at him. After a while, I could just feel his
saw that
stare.
shine. I knew he was mad. It wasn't even your fault. He was like, "I'm Brent Mustangburger," and he was like,
I did not do that.
I was hoping you get a slap in the back of your head.
I need to take this out on
That
somebody.
was totally Brian Salisbury's fault.
But you know what? Watching the second half of the movie, they just got rid of all of that, and they concentrated on something that I thought would have been a better idea for Cars and Cars 2, is that they actually concentrated on these being vehicles and having, you know, and centering the story around speed and racing. And
I thought they did that with Cars too.
maybe they did. I forgot about Cars 2.
That whole ridiculous spy drama they had going.
That was in Cars 2. That's what I was saying. Cars 2. I think this is a much better movie than Cars 2 because, again, this is. And I'll tell you why. Now, again, nothing to say, hey, you really need to go see this.
No, I know. No, you say like, well, it's better than Cars 2. That's a bad.
And it's not a glowing praise of that film at all. But what Cars 2 did is that they forgot about these beings being cars and just took a generic spy subplot that could have been done by anything.
Yeah.
And that was why that movie was so bad, because that's the ultimate lazy move that you can do. At least this went back to racing and speed and all that kind of stuff. And I while I was sitting there, I was like, okay, this is bearable. I mean, there was certain scenes in there that were kind of cool. It's funny that the movie actually goes out of its way to be influenced by two Jimmy Stewart movies, which are It's a Wonderful Life and Vertigo, if you noticed.
Oh.
Yeah, even though when they bring in the plot point early on, it's like going, you know, the one thing that's holding you back, plane, is that you're afraid of heights.
Yeah.
And I literally slapped my forehead. I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
Well, you know, I mean, that could have been a clever story that played off of irony. You know, a plane that is scared of heights.
Sure.
Had they done something
But
with it.
it wasn't, and so it was a forehead slapper.
Yeah. It was one of those like a third of the way into the film they went, oh yeah, by the way, there's also this.
Well, it's such terrible foreshadowing. I mean, where a child could understand it. But I mean, but the thing is, this movie it really did feel like a mess. I mean, especially with the cast of characters that show up occasionally, and you're thinking they're going to have some kind of relationship with this Dusty, a bigger, relationship, and it's kind of just the bare minimum, where it felt like they weren't really fleshed out. And I don't know, man. It's just it is one of those movies where like the little engine that could, or in this case, it's somebody who wants to be more than what they're supposed to be,
and that's fine. I mean, it's an underdog story, and that's cool.
You know what?
Yeah.
But the thing is that if I feel like, wow, okay, this is your go-to plot now, just like your spy films, where you bring this plot up, where eventually we're gonna get into who you want to be, only to have the sequel be about you being a spy now. So I mean, it's like, man, this is kind of like a company product that is just kind of churning out,
and you gotta keep
and it really just takes any of the things that I used to love about watching these type of animated films really, just takes me out of the seat, and just it makes me sad that this is kind of the state. I'm scared this is how the state of these kid films are going to end up being now, especially when you have such a big name attached to
Disney, I mean, keep in mind that this is not a Pixar movie. I mean,
for
Pixar
good reason.
is owned by Disney.
It's in the world of Cars, and John Lasseter's name's all over.
Well, John Lasseter is the head of
Disney's animation department.
Disney's, what the fuck is this in my? Oh, never mind. My earphones are falling apart.
He's like, what is this in my ear? Oh,
my earphones. No. He's head of the animation department. He didn't direct this. He definitely is a producer. There's a guy named Clay Hall that directed it. I mean, I don't mind Disney trying to get a buck, and sometimes it works. They've done this with other movies. So this is not a one-shot thing that they've done. They did it with the Tigger movie that we love so much, the Winnie the Pooh movie.
Yeah.
That we love so much. They did it with a Peter Pan movie back in the day that was okay, but you could tell that shit was meant to go straight to DVD. If I had to sum it up, man, I like I said, I don't hate this. If anything's bullshit about this, it's a bullshit move from Disney, because parents are going to be in there. They're going to be like, why the fuck are you doing this to me, boy? They're going to look at their kids and be like, really? Really? I could have bought this and we could have shown. Okay, well, let's go watch Cars again. You know what I mean? Why are we watching this? But yeah, it's a bullshit move. But I think it's just a rental. I mean, and it's a rental for kids. If you show it to your kids, I think kids will be fine with it. They'll like it. They'll enjoy it very much.
Why'd you take me to the theater to see this? I could have waited for.
Yeah, we could have been at home.
Yeah. What makes this better than Cars 2? I won't say much better, but better marginally, is that it comes with no expectations. I mean, Cars 2 was on the backs of a movie that was, whether you like Cars or not, it was still when Pixar was a quality name. So that was a big letdown. With this, you kind of go in knowing that it's not going to be that good. I mean, and it doesn't let you down because it doesn't try that hard. It's weird because what you guys said about the first half about it being boring, you're right. At the same time, they were rushing through everything. They was just like, okay, this point. It's like, okay, a crop duster that can fly as fast as a jet. Why is that? Doesn't matter. Let's keep going. Let's get him in that race. But it does somewhere in the second half. It starts to have some things that I found interesting. Not just Stacy Keach, but just some moments here and there. It's man, I would not recommend seeing this movie, but it's just enough to keep me from giving it some old bullshit. I give it a low rental.
Yeah, I didn't see Cars 2, so I can't. Obviously, that's the standard that we're all going by.
Oh, go watch it tonight.
But everyone kept mentioning the little engine who could, and obviously that's the bare bones plot structure. But it's more like the little engine who could exchange 50-year-old puns with a bunch of pointedly inoffensive cultural stereotypes, and that's the whole movie right there, summed up in one sentence. Because that's all it really has to offer. I mean, there's that point where you realize they're going to represent, like, there's the British guy and there's the Mexican guy and there's the French chick and there's the Asian chick, and you're like, and they're all going to have little tiny bits about them that are kind of little cultural jokes about who they are, but nothing that goes too far. We wouldn't want to offend anyone.
I kind of thought the Mexican
unless you're a Mexican, in which case they're like, what are they going to do?
Yeah, today every time there's a movie with a Mexican cartoon character, they now have to be
luchadors.
Mexican wrestlers.
Yeah, it's like they're always celebrating Cinco de Mayo.
The indoor racing champion of all Mexico.
Indoor racing?
and numero uno recording artist, telenovela star, and romance novelist.
Did you say El Chupacabra or El Cuckoo Cabra?
You make joke?
You make joke?
Very well.
You leave me no choice! I squish my teeth at you! You have been shamed.
Like even me as a Mexican, I'm like, it's fucking cartoon.
Yeah,
I
there
don't
are
give a
kids
shit.
who are going to go to Mexico one day and go like, why isn't everybody wearing masks?
Where's all this shit going on?
So lazy though, yeah.
I couldn't even the stuff that happened that was not as boring as the stuff in the whole first 3/4 of the film was nowhere near enough for me to really wake up, really. By the end, I'm like begging for this to be over. I don't even know if there was an after credit scene. I know y'all stuck around a bit. I was like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. I need to go. I'm done with this movie. Just so boring. So just nothing. They didn't try. This is some old bullshit for me.
I agree. It is completely some old bullshit. I mean, with a story I've seen 100 times just done better due to really great characterizations that I think, man, you know, if you want to get kids involved in your story, I mean, really give them something they can identify with, give them a solution, like make them really want to be this fucking plane, I guess, you know, so they can go flying around their living room and you know, knocking their head on the wall. Why not? You know, I've seen movies that have done that in spades that, you know, are so much more inspiring than this one. This is just, like I said, it was a toy commercial. That's all I saw. I walked in that theater and I saw a toy commercial. And it's sad because, yeah, I mean, it has that Disney logo and you just expect more out of them, but now it seems they're just more interested in producing Happy Meal toys. And for that, I can't forgive that. It's too bad because it ruins my expectations of seeing these animated films. So I'm giving it some old bullshit as well.
What's funny to me is that he's a big fan of He-Man.
But you know what?
Don't think I didn't think about that.
But you know what? He-Man's the one that started it.
So you still pass.
But they are the kings.
It
of
was
this shit.
art then.
It was art, exactly.
The original,
art.
right?
The original.
Kiss the ring, right?
Yeah, kiss the ring. Kiss the He-Man
kiss
sword,
the ring
bitch.
and buy a Happy Meal.
Kiss my castle Grayskull.
Kiss that brown ring.
It's a really compelling underdog story. Like Old Yeller.
That's not an underdog story.
There's a dog in it.
What? Oh, man, that's nasty.
Mayday! Big castle! All right! I owe you my life.
Are you crying?
I don't cry, I'm British.
Down, down, down.